So for Kevin, he's put in this situation where he's reached out to his uncle and he's trying to sort of, have some semblance of a relationship, and he's probably been a little too pushy. And then cut to, his uncle has sort of been receptive of it, and is kind of now accepting Kevin into his life and being a little more comfortable. He's got Uncle Nicky coming to Thanksgiving, for God's sake, not in handcuffs either. Like, he's his own free will. He's like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. And in the midst of that, he sort of is connecting with Randall and connecting with the kids and kind of becoming part of the family. Yeah, I think that's one of the sort of, gosh, one of the unintended consequences of Kevin being so selfless. And in a weird way, when we found him, you thought he was the opposite. And he makes this comment that is very true, which is like, Kevin's fine as long as he has someone else to save or take care of or worry about. The moment everyone else is okay and he's got to turn it around and sort of focus on himself and his issues, he's not good at taking care of himself. So it's a very interesting thing. But yeah, Nicky, I mean, he's kind of helped him kind of figure out his life. And his sister and the kid and the baby, and I mean everything, right? And then when it comes to his own life, it's like he kind of hits a rut, So I think that's and also his quest of sort of finding. He comes to this realization where he's like, in true Kevin fashion, he does it so abruptly. It's like it's not even practical. He's like, I want to get married. I would really, like to have a family, and instead, Kevin says, I'm going to be married and have a kid by next year. Or it's like, give me a break, dude. Like, that's not how the world works. But he thinks it does. So that'll be sad and probably really, really funny as well to sort of see where that goes. I agree. I think that it would be very easy to sort of rest on the show's success and be like, well, we have an audience, so we're just going to keep doing the same thing. People seem to like it. We're just going to keep regurgitating the same stuff until eventually it fizzles away. And it's like, remember when that show was good, right? So I think part of it is just the diligence of the writers, the idea that Dan knows the arc of the show and where it's going. That obviously helps as well. And just how intriguing these characters are and how real the storylines are and the relationships. These are things that actually, they just happen in real life. And some of the things that we talk about on the show, maybe people don't talk about in real life, but they happen. And there have been moments where people have come up to me and said, oh man, that is exactly my life. I feel like the show's talking to me. And so that's what we continue to do. And as the show evolves, from season 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, just however many we're going to do, I think if we continue to do that, I think that's sort of the recipe for success, for the show. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I have never. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say when I read it, I was like, brilliant. When I read it, truthfully, what I thought was this would be a really great like third or fourth episode, because we've been off for an entire season, and I'm like, wow. But then as always, like you get to the you get to the end of the script, or you reread the script and you think of Dan and sort of his vision and how talented he is, and it's just of course it's the premiere. It's got to be. I mean, he just is a little bit ahead of all of us. I think that's kind of him anyway. That's kind of him in everything. He's just like just ahead of you. It's great. So we're lucky. We're lucky to have someone like that takes chances like that and is willing to, look at something and in his mind say, this is how this should be. This is what this should look like. This is what I believe in, and not worry about anything else and just go for it. That bravery and that leadership is part of the reason why the show is so good, because he continues to do that over and over and over again, from season to season, episode to episode. These stories that you have, where you'll have this episode where, for the premiere, none of us were in it, really, hardly. And some episodes we're not in, barely in. It's the story, not the, you know what I mean? And I think that's I think that's the brave brilliance of the of the show, really.